Elizabeth, I didn't mean to upset you.
It's not just what you said.
What is it?
Earlier tonight when I toasted what might have been, you remember?
Yes.
I knew then it was over for you. I knew then your feelings had changed.
I had just started to accept what never could be.
Don't you see I haven't? My feelings haven't changed. I wish they would. But when you said goodnight to me, the memory of what we shared swept over me so strongly. All I wanted was to be in your arms again. But when I kissed you, I knew you didn't feel the same way. Even though I had prayed that you hadn't changed.
I wanted to talk about this because I don't want you to be confused. I want to be honest with you. I know you're trying to find the peace in your life, and I want you to get what you came here for. And eventually go back to Justin and work out things and be happy.
Oh, Mike. I wish it were that simple.
Justin's a good man. As evidence of that, he's loved you so much that he's gone along completely with your wishes in coming here, and hasn't called you and hasn't tried to persuade you to come back.
Mike, I love Justin for many things. For understanding what this means for me, for taking care of Philip. But I care too much for him to keep deceiving you or being dishonest with him, as I was when I married him. Mike, marriage has to be based on love, the kind of love you and I shared.
That's not easy to find.
No, it isn't. But anything less is a cheat. And I will never cheat myself or anyone else again.
But there are a lot of things that go into making a marriage, besides love. Trust, for instance.
You certainly worked fast, lady.
Oh, dear. What does that mean?
You got your father out here to look at my paintings very quickly.
Oh, that. Yes, Alan taught me that. Once you have an idea, never wait. Put it into action immediately.
Ah. You like that in everything you do?
Well, in business, certainly. He who hesitates is lost. In fact, if I had a coat of arms, that's what would be inscribed upon it. I wondered where you had disappeared to.
Oh, just out here getting a little breeze. It was so stuffy inside the dining room with all those candles going.
Yes, it certainly is. Poor Philip almost dozed off during dessert.
I think all that talk was very boring for him. Oh, I'm sure it wasn't. After all, Alan put him right next to Daddy, and Daddy simply showered him with attention, or so it seemed to me.
Yes, I noticed that, too. And it suddenly occurred to me that he must feel cheated somehow.
Who? Philip or Daddy?
Your father.
Oh, my father's never been cheated of a single thing in his whole life.
Well, he doesn't have a son. And every man in his position wants a son to carry on the family empire.
I'm sure that's never even occurred to my father.
Oh, how can you be so sure of that?
Shouldn't we be getting to the cottage soon? And we can have brandy and coffee there. Now, that's a lovely idea, man. In fact, why don't we call up Carter Bowden and see if he would like to join us?
Oh, no, he's not in town at the moment.
Oh, that's a pity. I did so want to meet him.
Really?
Oh, I'd like to chat with him. So would Daddy.
What about, Vanessa?
Oh, just things. I mean, after all, it takes a good deal of foresight, not to mention daring, to put an artist like Ben under contract for a great deal of money when the artist doesn't yet have the reputation to back the investment up.
Actually, he wasn't all that daring at first.
He wasn't.
No, he decided against giving me a contract at first, and then reversed himself within about 24 hours, and we worked out our present arrangement.
Oh, that is rather odd, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Actually, I didn't think he was very impressed with my work when he first saw it.
Well, obviously you were wrong.
Yeah, and very lucky.
I must say, it's fascinating, isn't it? You know, I'm even more anxious to meet him now that you've told me this.
Why is that?
Oh, because I like to know why people change their minds so suddenly, especially when it involves $25,000.
clumsy.
Just relax, and I'll get it.
Oh, so this is where all you young people disappeared to.
Oh, hello, Daddy. Come, join us.
No, Alan and Hope have a better idea.
What is it?
That we go on ahead to Ben's, and they'll come over later.
Well, why not now?
Well, I want to get Philip bedded down for the night.
That's fine. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Wonderful. Then it's all settled.
I am getting a little nervous, however.
Well, why should you be nervous?
Well, I just hope you like my work, Mr. Chamberlain.
You will, won't you, Daddy?
Well, I'm convinced of it after hearing you go on and on about him.
Ross, my darling, won't you come join us?
Oh, I've already decided to. I want to hear Henry's reaction, too.
Earlier, you said you had other plans for this evening.
Well, the phone call I got here before dinner cleared all that up.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that, Ross. I have some business to discuss with you.
Now, Daddy, tonight is Ben's night.
This is important, darling.
Well, if it's so important, why don't you change your mind and stay an extra day? That's fair, isn't it?
As fair as you ever are, my darling.
What a thing to say.
Well, as a matter of fact, I may have to stay over another day anyway. Alan wants to discuss some things with me before I go back to Chicago.
That's wonderful. Everything's working out just as I wanted it to.
Well, there is nothing unusual in that. My daughter has the knack of getting exactly what she wants, and a strong aversion to being reminded of it.
Now, that's not quite true. You see, my problem has always been that I'm never really sure what I want. In fact, ever since I've come to Springfield, I felt like a little girl in a candy store. So many things to choose from. What's so funny?
Nothing, never mind.
Did I say something funny? I want to know.
No, it's just that I find it hard to imagine you as a little girl in a candy store.
I don't see why.
Because, Vanessa, if you couldn't decide what you wanted, you'd simply buy the entire store. Shall we go?
Stafford. Logan Stafford, Lucille. Patient of Justin's. Critical condition. Stafford. Logan Stafford.
What do you mean, Mr. Stafford?
I mean, it was the end of Jane Marie. It was the end of all our dreams for her.
You mean she's dead? Oh, Mr. Stafford, I apologize for coming here and reminding you of your grief. If I had known that Jane Marie was dead, I wouldn't have troubled you.
I demand to be told why you came to Toronto and asked me all those questions about my youngest daughter.
I told you the truth when I visited you.
I don't believe you. Look, if you won't tell me the truth over the phone, I'll come to Springfield and force you to.
It's a small world, isn't it? Logan Stafford's one of Justin's patients now. He's hovering between life and death.
Very clever from this point on.
May I bring you anything?
No, thank you. Are we on time?
Yes, we should be landing in Springfield within the hour.
Thank you.
Well, now, don't tell me that Christina went to bed without an argument.
She didn't. She wanted to stay up and play with Grandpa. I told her you'd be back around again.
Oh, it's after 11 already.
Oh, no. I wanted to get to bed early. Steve is going on vacation tomorrow. It's going to be a rough day.
Oh.
So, good night.
Good night, darling.
Night, Mom.
Good night, dear. Sleep well.
It's good to see you again, Adam.
Good night, Allie. It's my pleasure. See you at the hospital.
Yes, right. Night.
Night.
Well, more coffee.
No, thank you, Barbara. I really better be going.
Well, I hope Polly's right. You're going to be around more often.
I'll try.
We're going to hold you to it.
Barbara, there's something I want to say to you.
Yes?
I guess Holly put it into words for both of us when she said she wanted a name change legally.
Well, you weren't hurt about that.
No. No, of course not.
Well, no matter what Holly does, my name will always be Thor. And that's something that's going to come between us, no matter what, whenever we're together. And even if it's only in my mind, it's going to be there.
Well, maybe if you just give it more time.
I'm not so sure. You know, I know you think I've been avoiding you lately, and that's partially true, but I've just wanted to be with people who didn't know Roger very well.
Well, I can understand that. It's just, I guess I was hoping that we could forget all the past and go back to the time when we were so happy.
Barbara, I don't think that's possible any longer.
Maybe it could be in the future.
Oh, I'm not so sure. As much as we might want it to be. If we were younger, perhaps, like Ed and Rita, we might have time to try. But even then, I'm not sure.
So, have you got your fingers crossed?
You bet I have. Ross, that is the third time.
I beg your pardon?
You keep looking at your watch. Are you bored?
Oh, no, of course not. I mean, can't you feel the electricity in the air?
Then why do you keep checking the time?
Well, I was just wondering, what's keeping Alan and Hope?
Oh, which reminds me, I wanted to ask you something before Alan got here.
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard him mention a family by the name of Stafford?
He may have mentioned them once or twice in the course of a conversation. Yes, why?
Well, Ben and I were talking about it the other night. See, I remembered seeing an old newspaper clipping that Mother had kept about a young girl named Janice Stafford. It was all about her drowning in some terrible boating accident, and Alan was mentioned in it.
Really?
Apparently, he was dating her in college. It must have been just awful for him when she died. I mean, they both were so young.
Yes, I'm sure it must have been. But as I say, he mentioned it, but he never... Well, Lucille.
Oh, hello,
Mother,
darling.
you're back.
Yes.
Oh,
Lucille.
Ben.
I am so glad you're home.
Oh, thank you, darling. I'm very happy to be here.
You look absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Mother, why are you wearing glasses?
Oh, darling, I'll tell you about it later.
Why didn't you call us and let us know you were coming home tonight?
Well, I really couldn't. The doctor told me I could leave just a few minutes before the last plane.
Well, it doesn't really matter as long as you're home.
Thank you. Well, I didn't know I'd walk in on a party. I mean, I saw the lights and heard the laughter. I just couldn't resist coming down.
Mother, what did the specialist say in Dallas about your headaches?
Oh, darling, we'll talk about my ailments later.
Mother, I've been very worried about you.
Please, darling, this is a party. It's not time to talk about my illness.
All right, but we will talk about it later, after I introduce you to some people you don't know. Henry Chamberlain and his daughter, Vanessa.
Perhaps you've already met him, Henry Chamberlain.
Why do you say that?
From the expression on your face. Also, he was very good friends with Brandon Spaulding.
Darling, I really am sorry I interrupted your party. I really must go back. I am feeling a little tired. I'd like
No,
to rest.
Mother, I won't hear of it. I'm going to bring him over right now to meet you.
Welcome home, Lucille.
This has been the award-winning Guiding Light. Fashions provided by Lily Rubin Salon, South Southwest, Janie Jamaica Estates, and Barney's.